Hey friends, this is Waylon Lewis. I'm up in Canada visiting my mom, Linda Lewis, and we're here to talk about Maitri, which is the Buddhist practice of making friends with yourself, which sounds nice, but is actually can be kind of hard. So why, first of all, is Maitri hard, actually doing it? Because talking about it sounds like self-care or self-help or something.
It's definitely not self-care. It's has a lot more than, it involves a lot more than just taking a hot bath after a tough day.
Which is nice.
It's lovely. But Maitri basically means making friends with yourself exactly the way you are.
So if there's mistakes I've made in my life, or there's things I hate about myself, or there's things I love about myself or like about myself, it's all that.
Yeah, you make friends with yourself exactly how you are. And you try to dissolve anything that involves, hatred toward yourself, for goodness sakes. There is a general atmosphere of loving kindness towards yourself. But what I'd like to talk about is what often isn't talked about, and probably almost never on I was told, 3-minute introductory talk on Maitri. But I think it's important. Maitri is the first of the 4 immeasurables. And what makes the immeasurables immeasurable is that they're all joined with emptiness. The realization that there's no solid self, and that there's no solid anything. And I think everyone can agree that everything's impermanent. So if you understand impermanence, and that's pretty hard to deny, you understand, or at least have a very good glimpse of what an immeasurable is. So with that in mind, when you're loving yourself, when you're making friends with yourself, you understand that everything changes. There's not a solid self that you're making friends with.
But often when people have like self-hate or guilt or whatever it is about a solid, seemingly solid thing that they did in their past.
If you apply Maitri to that, it will dissolve, because you'll have a glimpse. If it's genuine Maitri that you're applying to yourself, you're having a glimpse of how temporary everything is. All your states of mind, all your moods, all your deeds are temporary. They all have causes and effects. They are all composite. There's no solid, singular, permanent aspect to your being.
But Buddhism also isn't nihilistic. So
No.
It's not saying it doesn't matter because it falls apart.
No, relatively, cause and effect really matter. We intend...
Cause and effect meaning any kind of action.
Yeah. If you wish everyone happiness, and if you smile at people that you meet in the supermarket, you tend to get smiles back.
Yeah.
There's direct cause and effect happening all the time at a spontaneous, no big deal level. But with yourself, if you apply Maitri or loving kindness and genuinely are making friends with the self, remember that it's not a solid thing. And so it makes it a practice, because you get to have a fresh start at applying Maitri whenever you think about it. It's not like I have had loving kindness for my yesterday for myself. So I don't never need to deal with the things that I dealt with yesterday, because new things will crop up today, and the things that were happening yesterday aren't necessarily happening now. So it encourages you to practice it often. Maitri is a wonderful thing.
So how do you practice Maitri? Because it's not just philosophical.
No, it's not philosophical. Well, the way that I practice Maitri, I actually apply the 4 immeasurables. The other 4 is Maitri naturally, organically leads into compassion, and compassion naturally, organically spreads out into equanimity eventually, after sympathetic joy.
Equanimity meaning kind of lack of drama.
Lack of drama, yeah. That's a good way to put it.
And what was the 4th? Sorry?
It's Maitri, compassion, sympathetic joy, rejoicing in the virtues of others, for example. and then equanimity.
So I just posted about Taylor Swift. Everyone's criticizing her, and people have a lack of people look at her and it seems like she's happy and she's beautiful and she's wealthy and all this stuff. And some people at least love to tear people like that down. While I don't really have particular sympathy for billionaires, flying around in private jets, like you're talking about sympathetic joy or actively rejoicing in other people's happiness. When you make friends with yourself, which is Maitri, then you don't really feel a need to belittle others or hate on others.
Absolutely. And also, if you are meditators, when you meditate and a thought comes up and is bothersome, you disown it, you go out with the breath, you exhale, and fresh start, you're putting attention back on the breath. And that's Maitri. Mm-hmm. The simple thing of recognizing a thought to be a thought and going back to the breath is Maitri, because you're returning to the present moment and you're making friends with how things actually are, that moment. So Maitri is just pure gold.
It reminds me of what you just said of the Zen expression, which is, you're perfect as you are and you could stand some improvement, meaning once you actually make friends with yourself, then you naturally improve, like you said, compassion.
That's right. It's organic.
Sympathetic joy, equanimity.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not that you're perfect and you're just like, I'm okay being stubbornly neurotic or whatever. But you make friends with that neurosis and brilliance, and then you naturally evolve.
And it helps to know that stuff isn't solid, So, you let go of your identifying with whatever seems to be a problem or seems to be solid, remembering that it's impermanent, that moods and thoughts and stuff, even past actions, that doesn't mean you can gloss over things.
Right. It doesn't, because I was just going to ask about that, it doesn't give people an excuse to have a lack of accountability or responsibility.
Yeah, absolutely not. But because you want to be kind to yourself, then you want to make friends with that aspect of yourself and be curious as to maybe why that happened. Why did you do that? What was the need at that time? Why did you feel that was necessary to do? You could be curious. At least Maitri branches out into a lot of wisdom, actually, as well as compassion.
I knew that would happen. That's why I just got a phone call. So we are going to practice Maitri together, Elephant, our international community. This is probably the last time we're going to do the Maitri program. It's not just meditation, it's group discussion and community. This month, online, you can do it from anywhere. Super affordable. There's a discount built in. And if you invite a friend in, it's just $1 more. So then you can do it with a buddy. I just did that. So it's fun to have like a friend with you. And you can sign up at elephantjournal.com/Maitri. And my lovely mom and David Sanford, a wonderful Buddhist teacher, and Sharon Salzberg. Many folks have videos as a part of our little curriculum, which will include meditation.